All right. Good thing we didn't go over anything too important. Now, state. You don't want to put state in a child of a component that already has state. That's kind of a anti-pattern in React. You want states to be your single source of truth. And set state is asynchronous. So if you have a parent component that has state, and then that parent has a child that also has state, and those states kind of depend on each other, you're gonna get some really weird behavior. Try to avoid that. Within app.js's state, which is our parent component, we should have puzzle and guest letters. So puzzle should be a puzzle word off of this array. So let's store this array. Somewhere.
Are you sharing the screen?
I'm not sharing the screen. We'll store it in an assets folder. Let's call it words.js. And we will import it. And let's see to make sure that it's working. So we have our words now, but we want to set the state to one of those words. So let's use hooks. And the syntax for that is use state, I believe. But I have to import it up here. And I think that's how it is in the docs. Actually, let's go up. Ah, this is how it is. And it's like this. Okay. Now we want to call it puzzle. It should be a word that's a string. Puzzle and set puzzle. And for now, let's give it an empty string. But I wanna grab it from words, right? So I'm gonna look up how to get a random item from JavaScript array. Okay. And then I'm going to, instead of items, use words. And now I should get one word in my app. And it should change each time I refresh. Okay.
That's the sequel to
What's next? We need guest letters. An array of all the letters that were guessed. Okay. Const guest letters. Set guest letters. equals use state and two, just one thing, not the array. All right. Pretty straightforward so far.
Mm-hmm.
Now comes the fun part.
Yeah.
Which one should we do first? Display the word? I like that. Let's get the display word first. Let's put that up top. And display word, what are we gonna need to display the word?
Need that puzzle.
We need a puzzle.
And you're going to need guest letters.
And guest letters. The syntax is so clean with the hooks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why did I go here? Let's go to display word. And instead of saying display word, we will let output equal an array. And here we will display the output. How do I access the props I've passed here in a functional component?
This stuff props. No.
Props.
This props.
Just props
You take them in as an argument.
and an argument to the function. There. And
So props the
puzzle guest letters equals props. Does anyone know a different way to do this?
you can only just access it manually using props.puzzle and props.guest letters. That's a lot more typing.
Yes. All right. So to demonstrate, I'm going to put puzzle here.
Mhm.
And this should have the puzzle word. Okay. Well, if I comment this out, I can actually put this up here. And it'll still work. This syntax is good if you only have one or two, but if you have several, if you have very many, then you definitely want to use this syntax here. Okay?
All right.
Just good to know you can do that. So we have this array here.
Mhm.
If the guest letters includes the letter, then we want to put the letter. If not, then we want to put an underscore, right? We want it to look something like this, except if the letter has been guessed, we want to display the letter itself. So puzzle is a string. I can loop over it.
I think strings actually have a built-in includes method in JavaScript that allows
Yeah.
us to see if a substring is contained within.
I like the includes method a lot. It makes things easy. So I'm going to say for letter of puzzle. For of is great for arrays, strings, things that can be indexed. Not so much for objects, but we have for letter of puzzle. Let's just make sure it works. Console log letter. Okay. Now, instead of console logging letter, I want to check if letter is in guest letters.
So in that case, you can't use contain. You can't use include, you use contains. Because I think guest letters is an array.
Oh, arrays, you can use the includes on array as well. So if guest letters includes the letter, I'm going to push that letter into the output. Else, I will push an underscore. Underscore. Let's put output here. Now it should be all underscores. Okay. And if I go and I hard code something in here, let's give it a bunch of vowels so we'll get something. That should be enough. We have the vowels. And it looks kind of ugly because it's all joined together, so I'm going to,
What output that joins the space?
yes, I'll put a space in there. Output equals put dot join space. All right, it's a little better. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Yeah. All right, so display word looks like it's working. Let's go to input, because we can't really have round letters until we have input. How do we want to do this? Do we want to use a form or just an input with the text? Text input. Let's make it more complicated. Let's use a form with a text input and a submit input. I believe that should give us some sort of input. Oh. All right, but it doesn't do anything. Oh, yes, it does. It refreshes the page. I didn't mean to do that. All right. We want the on submit to call a function, and it'll be, what do we want to call it?
Do we want the guest to be part of input, or do we want the guest to be passed from app?
Do we want to put it in input or in app? Where should it be? When we submit the form, where do we want to run the function that follows?
I would think we wanted an app because we want it to be able to set state.
Remotes, can we hear you?
Yeah,
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. Well, we want to be able to edit the guest letters, which is in the state of the app, when we guess a letter. So we probably don't want to put it in here. In app, we have this array, and we want to add to the array every time we guess a letter.
build the function inside of that.
Yes. Now, how do we pass down a function?
Same way you would
The same way? Oops. So Justin was unfortunate enough to ask me a question when we were first starting React, and I hadn't looked at React in a couple of months. And he had a console log inside one of these squigglies. Now, when I pass this function down, I saw some people the other day doing things like this and invoking things inside the squiggly. Or maybe console logging things inside the squiggly. What do you think this will do?
It'll run once when you start the function. Or when you
Yes. So it'll actually run when it displays on the screen. If you have the function itself, you'll pass the function down. However, if you invoke it, the function will actually be invoked, and if it doesn't return anything, then this will simply be undefined. It'll be whatever the function returns rather than the function itself. Now, guess, let's make sure it works. Uh-oh. Input, guess it's not defined. Ah, it looks like hi happened, but it disappeared too fast. And now it'll say hi, but I wanted to console log A, or whatever letter I type in here. Is it event.target.value?
Once you define the value in the
That's a good thing to reach for.
submit.
But this is undefined. Event.target.value is undefined.
Because
So when something's undefined, let's just keep taking off the end until it's defined. We have a form. So the event.target is the form because it's a submit event.
Event.target.text.
.text? No.
We need to modify to give the form inputs names
The for input, the names.
in our actual form.
whatever
The name.
the value.
Now does it have a text? Oh, so we were able to access that particular input. But
So now I want the value of that input.
now we can access the value because we have the input. And inputs have values. And now we can access that letter that was in there. because we gave it a key. Oops. We gave it a key to look at. So this could be and however, I somehow guessed a letter that was already there. We shouldn't be able to do that. In our input, or do we do it in our input? Well, here we are in our app, so we want to add to our guest letters, but we don't want to mutate it directly because it's state.
We want to change any of the attributes of the input to limit what we can do as inputs.
Say again?
Going back to our HTML, we want, or our JSX, do we want to actually put any restrictions on our input in our HTML? Like,
Oh, do we want to put any restrictions?
Yes.
Maybe a maximum.
Like, I don't want to be able to guess that. That's too many letters. Okay, let's give them maximum length. There's a handy little property or attribute you can give your input. I think it's, yeah, there it is. So now, even if I type, I can only type one letter at a time. That's good. Now, here I want to add this letter to guest letters. To do that, I'm going to make a clone of guest letters. It's going to be a let because I'm going to mutate it. And we've seen the spread operator before, right? Now I'm making a clone of guest letters instead of mutating it directly. So I can add this to my guest letters clone. And then I can set it with my handy method. Guest letters clone. Does that make sense to everybody?
Why wouldn't you just directly set it with the values then?
Why wouldn't we directly set it?
Yeah, with the values you get from input. Why do you have to? You're still using set guest letters, you're not mutating it directly. Is that not possible?
Mutate it directly?
So, because if you set it to something, then you're getting rid of whatever was in it before. You have to add your new guesses to the list of already guessed. If you just set it directly to what you just guessed, then it only will ever have one item.
So on line 17, I'm mutating guest letters clone. Guest letters is because we use this hook here and use state. It's this variable that lets us access the state. If we mutate it, then it's kind of an anti-pattern. We're trying to access state, however, and that should be accessible in that whole function and everywhere. But when we mutate it, all of a sudden we're introducing this change where we were given, we declared this specific method to mutate the state. So we have to use that method.
So inside of set guest letters, you couldn't repeat. You couldn't put guest letters parentheses event dot guest letters dot push event dot target dot.
Yeah, if I did this,
You put that inside of there.
inside of here.
Yeah, would that not work?
I don't know if it would work, but it makes me very nervous
Okay.
because I'm mutating the state.
I see.
You don't want to do that.
What you could do is, instead of guest letters on that line,
Ah,
If you wanted to do it all on that line, I guess you'd get away with
Oh.
using a map function as well, because it'd be making a new one.
oh, a map. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Map is non-destructive. But something happened. Oh, so A wasn't in there. Is it working? No. Guess letters clone. All right. I kind of thought it would work already. So I'm gonna guess a U. Uh-oh. I need to console log something. And guess, let's do. We already know we have this. Now let's console log guess letters. Oops. Okay.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
It's not saving the values.
So it looks like it's not actually adding it, it's just overwriting it.
guest letters clone.push on line 17.
Oh, because I got rid of, I'm mutating state here. So I want to mutate the clone. And now it'll work. All right. Now, how far are we? Oh, we need to have the wrong letters displayed. That should be pretty straightforward. First, let's see what props we need. Do we need just these? I think that's what we need, right? We need the correct word and all the letters that were guessed. From that, we can deduce the wrong letters.
Why would you need the correct letters?
Because your guest
To know
letters
which
is
ones
every
are wrong.
letter that you guess, so you need to remove from the list of guest letters.
Isn't the display already showing the correct guess letters and then the wrong letters? Is some other sets? Why would you?
You don't have it as a separate set. You only have one thing, is every letter that has been guessed, whether it is right or wrong.
No.
You need to go through that list and take out.
If I'll have an output.
Because you're wanting to display just the guessed letters that are wrong, not all of them.
If guess letters.
That's the right letters. So your
Oh, I need to
guessed
loop
letters
through guess
is
letters.
all of your letters right
Hold on.
or wrong.
Try it. Too much. A little bit shy. I'm not talking.
I'm looping through the guessed letters. If the puzzle does not include if it doesn't include the letter, I'm going to add it to the output. And that's it.
I still have to print something.
I have to put the output in here. Output, I'm gonna separate them with some spaces.
I'll put that joint.
Thank you. And we have something like that. Let's try D. Okay. So that works. Now let's take up.
The correct one.
Okay, let's put a correct letter. Now we want to have a message saying you won once it stopped, and we don't want that message to show up if you haven't won or lost yet. So let's think about that while we take a break, and we'll be back at 5 before.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Do we need a guest counter that is equal to the length of the puzzle word,
Perhaps
so that we could say, "Hey, you ran out of guesses.
that would work.
Game over. Game over."
Like your dad.